welcome to a special Halloween edition of the Literary Lutheran Reads the Book of Concord. Today we're continuing to read through Article 4 on Good Works from the Solid Declaration of the Formula of Concord. 4. In this sense, the words necessary, shall, and must are used correctly and in a Christian way to describe the regenerate and are in no way contrary to the form of sound words in speech. 5. Nevertheless, if the words mentioned, for example, necessity and necessary, are used when talking about regenerate people, then only due obedience, not coercion, is to be understood. For the truly believing, so far as they are regenerate, do not offer obedience from coercion or the driving of the law, but from a voluntary spirit. For they are no more under the law, but under grace. Romans chapter 6, verse 14, chapter 7, verse 6, and chapter 8, verse 14. 6. We also believe, teach, and confess that when it is said, the regenerate do good works from a free spirit, this is not to be understood as though it were an option for the regenerate person to do or not to do good when he wants, as though a person can still retain faith if he intentionally perseveres in sins. 1 John chapter 2, verses 5 through 9. 7. This is not to be understood in any other way than as the Lord Christ and his apostles themselves declare. In other words, the free spirit does not obey from fear of punishment like a servant, but from love of righteousness like children. Romans chapter 8, verse 15. 8. However, this willingness, liberty of spirit, in God's elect children is not perfect. It is burdened with great weakness, as St. Paul complains about himself in Romans chapter 7, verses 14 through 25, and Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. 9. Nevertheless, for the sake of the Lord Christ, the Lord does not charge this weakness to his elect. As it is written, there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans chapter 8, verse 1. 10. We believe, teach, and confess also that works do not maintain faith and salvation in us, but God's Spirit alone does this through faith. Good works are evidences of his presence and indwelling. Romans chapter 8, verse 5 and verse 14. Negative statements. False contrary doctrine. 1. We reject and condemn the following ways of speaking when they are taught and written. Good works are necessary to salvation. Also, no one ever has been saved without good works. Also, it is impossible to be saved without good works. 2. We reject and condemn as offensive and detrimental to Christian discipline the bare expression, good works are harmful to salvation. In these last times, it is certainly no less needful to encourage people to Christian discipline, to the way of right and godly living, and to do good works. We need to remind them of how necessary it is that they exercise themselves in good works as a declaration of their faith. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, and gratitude to God. Hebrews chapter 13, verses 15 and 16. But works should not be mingled in the article of justification. For people may be just as damned by an Epicurean delusion about faith as they are by papistic and Pharisaic confidence in their own works and merits. This has been the Literary Lutheran Reads the Book of Concord, and I wish you a spooky day.